Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalists. Stick around for this video. It's a police shooting that took place in Chicago where an armed suspect is being chased and he basically opens fire on police, and we see several little lessons to be learned in this video. A couple of things. Yes, hopefully we're going to be doing 3 p.m. Eastern Time with Matt Bracken going live, still to be confirmed, but likely that will be the case, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you're watching this, you're likely interested in this kind of content, and this is the kind of thing you like to learn about. I talk about a lot of the things you're going to be seeing in this video in Street Survival Skills, my latest book, the way in which instinctive point shooting is so accurate, the way in which hands are often hurt in these fights, using cover as you move around, using your vehicle, which unfortunately the officers do not do for whatever reason here. A lot of that and a lot more is covered here in Street Survival Skills, so keep that in mind. And of course, if you're interested in the aspect of economic collapse, inflation preparedness, that sort of thing, my first book, The Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse, which is available in Amazon, following those links below, as well as my Instagram if you want to follow me there. So, okay, let's get to it. So, we have this crazy person armed, a crazy lunatic with a gun that ignores the commands by police. Police know he has a gun. Drop it, drop it.
Hey, buddy, just drop it, man.
Buddy, just drop it. So they keep telling him to drop the gun. He obviously does not care. So we know he's armed. Okay, we know he's armed. We know that he does not care that police are going after him, and he just ignores those commands. Now, in the political, social context that we are in now, this is happening more and more, especially with crazy people and with ignorant people and with evil people. They think they can get away with this. You know, some people are not that stupid, but some are. And all of this atmosphere in which police are not to be, you know, accounted for and ignored and not taken seriously, it just makes the perfect combination for this kind of outcome, this kind of crazy where they just, you know, crazy guy with a gun, he just doesn't care, he just keeps on walking and let it be what it is. The police are, you know, it's not something that concerns me. Now, one of the other things you see that the police officer, he has his gun drawn, but he's just walking without very much of a tactical awareness and moving from cover to cover, or at the very least trying to keep like potential cover at least nearby. You know, he is, as always, it's super easy to criticize in these videos, but I would recommend trying, you know, even those trees you see, getting closer to that line. Anything that's blocking that straight line of fire may save your life. Even something as, you know, as silly as just walking just a yard or two on the other way. Now, he has a patrol car on front of him because the police were talking with our cops on the radio, and another patrol car is now blocking his way. So, crazy person with a gun that does not want to obey any commands from the police. Imagine what's going to be happening when his way is blocked by a patrol car. Of course, you know, as expected, shooting starts. Stop, stop, stop. It doesn't stop. He's just running towards it, start shooting, and they gun him down, and that's it. But in those few seconds, there's several lessons here we can learn. Now he's looking at getting closer to cover. You see that? So he's trying to, you know, use cover a bit more. That officer kicks the gun away from the suspect. The suspect is now down, screaming like a little girl, of course. Screaming, shouting out.
Where's the gun? Where's the gun, dude? They shoot me.
They shoot me, he says. They shot me, probably he means no, but they shoot me. Surprised that after opening fire on law enforcement, he was shot down. You know, surprised. There's another officer injured there. There's one injured here. So this is, you know, a few things here. Look at this, you know, guys. These are the lessons we, you know, not criticizing anyone or the Chicago police or any of these guys, brave guys doing a job that's not appreciated these days. But he should have stayed behind that door. You know, I actually describe this exact same scenario in my book where you just do what most cops would end up doing here, using that door, that beam from your vehicle, that beam as cover. It's going to be providing a lot more cover than just going out there as if talking with a neighbor and having no cover whatsoever. Not only that, but closing the distance so as to make that shot easier for your attacker. So don't do this, just use that door as cover. You can talk perfectly from that position without exposing yourself like that. If he has stayed there, draw his gun, point, and talk from a position of power, and a position where he has a lot more cover, that would have gone a lot better than this, where he almost got killed. Yes, everyone survives here, including Billy the Kid here that thought he could just shoot it out with the cops, but he's just a lot more exposed. Now, I'm going frame by frame here because I want you to see this as it goes down. He has a gun, he draws the gun, point shoots at that officer, boom, takes a shot, and then goes for our other guy, the one with the body cam now. And he goes down. But he gets shot 2 times. He injures the first officer in the hand, and the second one with the camera now, he gets shot in the leg and in the vest. The vest saves your life. Something else I talk about in my book, the importance of having a vest whenever the possibility is, whenever it's possible, get yourself and have a vest when you can. Now from the other officer, again, same thing. He gets out of the car, and rather than staying there as he should have, he should have stayed there using that door as cover, keeping the gun trained on him from that position, covering himself as best as possible and keeping the gun trained on the guy, keeping him in his sights in case he starts shooting, as it was perfectly reasonable to expect. No, he goes out there, not even using the engine as cover, nothing. He just goes out there and exposes himself, and that's where he gets shot. Now, a few things happen here. So we see that the officer, the guy just brings the gun out, and point shooting. This is super accurate sometimes. When you do this instinctively, if you try doing this in the range, you're going to be thinking too much. And you're likely going to be not as accurate as this complete crazy person that likely has no training with firearms whatsoever. He just point shoots and boom, and he's accurate. Notice what happens. His gun, this is a Glock. The magazine is coming out because in that shot that he received in his hand, he accidentally manipulated the gun and presses the mag release, and he's ejecting his magazine. Something else, when you learn to shoot in defensive situations, you always aim for center of mass. Now that goes both ways. The lunatic here is also shooting center of mass instinctively, right? But when both of you are shooting center of mass, your hands are gonna be in the way of that. So your hands are very likely to get hit. And that's exactly what happens in this video. He's dropping his radio as well. So he's out of, comms or whatever he needs to communicate. He doesn't have that anymore. Drop that in the fight. Injured. You see his hand. And you see that the magazine there, how the magazine of his Glock is hanging almost completely ejected. Almost completely ejected. Going back, you see that there? The magazine is almost on the floor. Could have just fallen to the ground. And that's that.
Come on. Die! Drop the gun! Die! It's over here! It's over here! Let's put it!
Yeah. Looking at it from another, the officer is fine. He survived and was out of the hospital that same day. The wound went through and through, but that could have perfectly been a shot in the femoral artery, and unless they put a tourniquet, there's a good chance he could have bled out if it was the case. It seems that it wasn't the case, and there's not a lot of blood coming out. And when the ambulance arrives, they say that it just went through and through. So notice something else. They're using a knife to cut open his pants. That's also something you want to have. And notice something else. The neighbors insulting the police. My baby didn't do nothing, or whatever crap that is they say. And it is so unfortunate and so unfair that these officers doing a tough job that no one appreciates, and certainly not these people. This is definitely an economically challenged community, to say the least, and those officers were taking a dangerous person out of the street, a crazy guy with a gun. And what do the neighbors do? They come out and insult the police just the same. This just says a lot of how bad things are these days. Another angle, We see this from the dash cam. There he goes again, boom, on one side, on the other, and then the officers try to take cover a little bit, maybe a little bit too late, and that's that. One more angle here. There he goes, boom, doesn't care, moves. Just cannot, and one final angle here. The officers start shooting. Notice that distance, man. That is 7 yards, 5, 6, 7 yards easily. And he still manages to just point shooting at that range. Manages to land 2 hits on the officer. That just says a lot of how dangerous and how accurate actually point shooting can be. So that's something you should actually try to check out and test in the range. Don't think too much about it. Just as I describe in the book, with your finger as you normally point at something, that pointing is extremely accurate. All you do is your trigger finger gets in the trigger guard and just pulls the trigger without changing anything else. That is going to be very accurate at those ranges, as this video just proves. Folks, that's going to be all for now. See you 3 p.m. Have a great day. Take care.